simple. But you guys know what I mean. It's going to be good in this book with that. So the first thing on page 123, it says you have the power to create hell and you have the power to create heaven. And I just wrote down in my notes is changing your dream to a new dream. Like we have the power to do that. And how cool is it to know that we have the power to do that? Like we don't have to stay where we are ever in life. Like we don't have to accept what people put on us. We don't have to accept, if we're going through a hard time in life, like we're going to get through it and we can change the outcome too. I love that we have the power to do that. And then I like on page 124 at the bottom, you are free to be who you really are. And I think that's a big part of what fitness has done for me is it has allowed me to become who I really am. It has allowed me to find my purpose. It has allowed me to now do a live fitness class, every week. Like who would have known? I had no idea. I remember as a little girl growing up and I was always when I was on the bench during our games and stuff, I was always the one like cheering on and like, let's go girls, like never sitting in the seat, like standing up, like hyping the team up, like, let's go. Like I was the cheerleader. And it's just crazy looking back and seeing that. And then where I am today is I'm still the cheerleader. Like God was prepping and preparing me to do what I'm doing today. And I remember my mom saying to me, Tennille, you're going to be a coach one day. Like that's what I see you doing. You're going to be a coach. And I just remember that, because my mom passed away, 16 years ago. But I remember her saying that to me. And I'm like, wow, how empowering that I'm able to live this life that I was practicing as a child. It's so cool. And be free, of who you really are. Who do you want to be? You can be anything. If you want to wear a costume to go to Walmart, wear a costume. Like you can be free to do anything you want. Yeah. Okay, I can. Okay. What else? And ladies, don't be scared to butt in whenever you want. I'm just kind of reading what I have highlighted through this chapter.
I'm butting into Neil because I feel like that segues into what I wanted to say. But so you're free to live the life that you want to live and the dream that you want to pursue. And then if you look on page 125, right in the middle, it says, imagine living your life without the fear, excuse me, without the fear of being judged by others. You no longer rule your behavior according to what others may think about you. You're no longer responsible for anybody's opinion. So go ahead and wear that costume to Walmart and then don't care what anybody thinks about it, right? Who cares what they're going to say, right? So I love that little section. And then it kind of, what you were talking about kind of made me think of it again. But I just love, like, throughout this whole book, I feel like Beachbody, like, popped up in my mind a lot. Warrior Women popped up in my mind a lot. The Believers popped up in my mind a lot. And I think, how cool is that? Like, how cool is this? First of all, this book is amazing. I think what we have going on as a team is amazing. And I just think, like, yeah, I don't know. I saw a lot of, I don't know, it popped up a lot while I was reading. I just think what we have going on here is pretty awesome. And so I think it's a testament to how our culture is as Warrior Women, and Jenny, how you've set us all up. And but yeah, I don't know. I just loved it. This was a good chapter and a good way to kind of.
I love that too. Thank you for even saying that, because I think that it's validating, like I think sometimes in life you have to have those little moments that remind you, I'm on the right track. I'm on the right track. Okay, I'm in the right zone. I'm doing the right thing. Like you need that reassurance sometimes in life. And like, I felt like reading this book, absolutely, I 100% agree. Like the fact that he even uses the word warrior, I was like, it's us. Like, I was just like, look at us go, you know, like how, and then just even Tennille saying like how life has lined you up to be right here. Like even just reading that warrior word in this book, like brings emotion in me because it's something I feel like has led all the way up to here. Like my whole life. Like I was a coach when I was younger. When I was in high school, I used to coach like middle school and junior high cheerleading. I used to be a cheerleader. And like, so it's funny to hear Tennille say that because I'm like, wow, it's exactly where my life has taken me as well. Like I've been bred to be a coach, let alone like a Beachbody coach specifically. Like who knew all that time that like that's what was being lined up. I'm like, I think you should trust the process a little bit, you know? And I know that we've heard that before and we've heard it probably a million times and maybe you've even said it, but when you put it in this context, it makes more sense, you know, when you're like, wow, like look at all of those struggles, all of those wins, all the schooling I did, all the sports or whatever I did has literally led, every little piece of it has led to right here. And then this book is like validation that it's all lining up correctly. It's all happening the way it's supposed to. Trust it, lean into it, and stop questioning it. You know, don't question it because you feel the lineup, you know? And so I just really appreciate that. And like, I just love that, like, he uses the word warrior and like everything just gives me like warm, fuzzy feelings when I was reading this book, which I just like appreciate just so much in this book. I really do.
And Jenny, that kind of leads me into page 127, where it talks about 2,000 years ago, Jesus told us about the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of love, but hardly anyone was ready to hear this. They said, "What are you talking about? My heart is empty. I don't feel the love that you're talking about. I don't feel the peace that you have. You don't have to do this. Just imagine that his message of love is possible and you will find it in yours." And absolutely, I feel like I have found it since I have found like the warrior women and finding my value, which I already knew my value, but I didn't know my value. And just with everything that's gone on with Camden, I have found that love that others have for me, and I have found that peace. I never understood, like, when you just give it to God and you say, "Give me peace." I never knew what that was until I actually prayed over my child and asking for, giving him that comfort and giving him um just to take the pain away. And then that gave me the comfort of, "Mama, you're doing everything you can. I've got your child in the palm of my hand." And I'm totally at peace, even though I know I've got still like 6 months to go before we find out about the growth plate. He's fine. God totally has this and he's fine. Um, I still have to wait for the doctors to see and x-rays and things like that, but my gut instinct, mother's intuition is telling me he's fine. He will be fine. We're going to get through this. But just that love, I feel it. And I think just finding the value in myself is allowing me to love myself where I'm at and knowing that I am wonderful, I am perfect, and I'm beautiful in every way, whether others see that or not.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! On page 129, to follow up with that, is happiness is a choice and so is suffering. How awesome, right? We have a choice. You can suffer through this and wonder, what if, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to be okay. You can suffer yourself and your mind, which will then suffer your other children and your entire family and your friends. And then that suffering will go into your job and that suffering will go into your mind and your body. Like it will continue. The spiral will continue if you allow yourself to suffer. But if you allow yourself to be happy and joyful and feel that peace, then how amazing is that? You know, you are putting this, you can't control this. I mean, we all know that. We can't control life. We can't control, you know, we can control what we can, and that's fueling our bodies, taking care of ourselves, you know, choosing our friends, our family, choosing, you know, to do personal development. Like there's things we can control, but the big picture, sometimes we can't control everything. But who are you putting that control into? You know, and I love, Nicole, that you're putting that control, that suffering, you're giving it to God and saying, here it is. It's all up to you. I'm going to be over here doing my self-development, doing what I can control, but God, you're in control and I'm giving it to you. I love that. Okay, let things go. Allow those chains to fall off.
And Tennille,
we
he takes it. And Tennille, he literally takes it. And it is amazing. I've had that 2 experiences since the pandemic. When Mike lost his job, I literally stood in the hallway and I told God, I can't do this. I'm trusting you and I'm giving it to you. And he has made this journey amazing. I couldn't have done this even remotely close to what he did for us. I mean, it's just amazing. So he literally, you give it to him, he takes it.
Yeah. And talking about the warrior women too, you know, you brought us up. You got to have angels on earth. You know, God is big. Yes, he is big and he will help you, and he, you know, it's in his control, but you got to have some angels on earth. And that is the warrior women for me. I know it is for you ladies. You got to have flesh people in your life. So remember that too. We can go to God with a lot of things, but you got to have some flesh, some real talk, you know? So that's awesome. Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, because Tennille, he brings those angels to you. He really does. He brings them to you. You don't have to search for them. I mean, you do, Jenny. You do have to search for them, but he brings them to you because you ladies are absolutely amazing. And I know I have you behind me. Like I'm going to go through something really hard Monday, like to the point I could be fearful, but I'm not. Because I have to say bye-bye to somebody and it's not going to be easy. But my livelihood is on the line, and you know, I've got to say goodbye. So I'm excited that I have you ladies behind me, and I have my husband's support, and I'm okay. It's all good.
Okay. So following with that, asking for what you need. Okay, make sure, ladies, we all know that if we're struggling, if we're stuck somewhere, or if we need advice, we just need some positive vibes, or we just need to reach out to somebody, hey, just let me vent on you for a minute. Like, make sure we do that. Okay, don't try to hold everything in. As moms and women and wives, like we sometimes are like, I can handle this. You know, I'm made for this. I can handle this. I don't need to talk about it. Like, I don't need anybody's advice. I don't need some positive, like, no, it's okay. It's okay to feel all your emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to take a rest day and sit on the couch all day. Hint, me yesterday. Like, it's okay when you know you need those things. So just make sure you're aware, okay? And make sure you reach out when you need to.
So I just was going to say something really fast, Neil. I was going to piggyback kind of off what Nicole said. So I actually uncircled that whole entire passage on 129 about like the suffering, you choose your suffering or you choose your happiness and all that kind of stuff. And so I haven't really shared this because I just haven't yet. But my husband and I are in the infertility route to have a baby. we've been married 2 years and it hasn't happened. I found out I have some medical things. I have PCOS, insulin resistance, and PCOS. So I don't know if you know what that is, but basically it means I produce too much testosterone, long story short. And so my husband jokes and he's like, oh, great, I married a dude. I'm like, oh, whatever. So we joke about it, but PCOS is the top leading cause of infertility. And I've always struggled with my weight, and come to find out when you have PCOS, your brain basically tells your body, one, not to ovulate, and two, to store all your fat and carbs because it's like it thinks it's not going to be fed tomorrow. So it's almost impossible for someone with PCOS to lose weight, which I wish I would have known this, how many years ago, but it's all kind of blending together. But anyway, so during that process that we're in, when I was reading this, I just thought it's so true. Like I have very strong faith, but it's something that I mean, it's a hard process to think like, I'm 32, I'll be 33, and I cannot have a baby on my own. Like it's not working. And we pray a lot about it and we talk a lot about it. But when I circled this, I thought, you know what, it's okay. Like I'm choosing to be happy about it. I'm choosing to let the process work, and I'm not going to sit here and suffer in it. Like life is too short, and you just kind of have to move on from it. So it's a process. But when I circled this paragraph, I thought that was the one thing that hit me hard was, I sit here sometimes and dwell, I do, of, my students that are their parents are on their 7th child and they don't take care of them. Or, my friends that, of course, during this process, I've had 6 friends that's ended up pregnant, and I'm like, gosh, darn it. Like, why haven't I gotten pregnant yet? So it's hard, and I don't want to say I suffer, but it's a hard feeling when, that's what your goals are. And so I'm just it's a constant reminder of, no, you're not going to choose to suffer through this. It's going to be fine. You need to be happy. Just be proud of the process and let it go. So that's when I circled that. I thought, oh, that's exactly I have to remind myself. So.
Dude, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sorry, I don't want to jump in over anybody, but I am just super proud of you for sharing that, because I know that's really hard to talk about, especially to a panel of girls that have children. I know that can be super hard for you, but just know that this is the perfect spot to you have so many women supporting you right here that would love to support you more and lean in for you. And I think when it comes down to what you're talking about too, of suffering, is you're judging yourself, you're judging really harshly on yourself because of these expectations that you have of yourself as a woman and what you're supposed to be doing and how it's supposed to go down, and everything like that. Why is it not hard for them, but it's hard for me? And all of this stuff goes through your head. And this book is perfect because it just allows you to wipe it all away. It literally allows you the control and the I don't know what that is, but it allows you to just say, you know what? None of that matters. None of that is my story. That's not my story. That's not my dream. And I'm not going to suffer any longer because somebody else placed a dream in my head a long time ago. That's not my dream. I need to wake up to my reality and be in it and enjoy it, because if not, I'm going to suffer. And I don't want to suffer anymore, because I'm sure that you've suffered way too long already.
I have. It's a process.
Yeah. But now, today, you can tell yourself, I'm no longer suffering. It's not an option anymore. It's going to be hard to not suffer. But I think that maybe if you could flip your perspective on it and your own image on it, that may just do what you need on the inside as well for that to happen. You never know. And the only reason I say that is because I have a friend, Jessie Emerine. I think Elika knows her. It's Toming now. I think Jessie Toming now, but she struggled. And I'm just telling you, the story of the story that I know. But she struggled a lot with having children. I talked to her a lot back when she was struggling, and she got into running. And she goes, you know what? I just decided to throw my hands up at it. She goes, whatever was happening. And literally within like the next year, she was pregnant with one. And then the next year she had twins. And now she has
Yeah.
3 beautiful babies. And she is so thankful for those babies now because of the journey it took to get them.
Right.
And the struggle that she had to go through to get them. And it's so beautiful to see her be a mom now. And I just know that someday we're going to look at you and go, it's so beautiful to see you be a mom now, because I just like in my heart, like no matter how it has to happen, it's going to happen for you. Like, and however that route has to be taken. So like, I just can't wait for the day for us to be like, look at Jennifer now, look at where she's at now. And we can support you through it all the hard stuff, all the good stuff. Here we are. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk for that long, but
No,
just like, I'm so like, I'm just excited for you.
Thank
rather
you.
than sorry for you. You know
Right.
what I mean? You can
Right.
choose that. I could be excited for the path that you're about to take, even though it's going to be struggles. Or I can say, oh, I'm so sorry. Poor
Right.
you. But you don't want that.
Right.
Right.
And that's, you know, and that's what's hard is people, I mean, not a lot of people know, but that's what people always say. I'm really sorry you're going through this. Okay, well, I'm really sorry I'm going through this too. Like, it stinks. I mean, I'm sorry too, but, you know, and then, you know, my husband and I do a lot of traveling. So like, we try to like detour our thoughts on that. But at the end of the day, like, it's still like that spot in your heart that you're just like, oh man, like, especially when, you know, you look and my friend, you know, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Just tell them, say, I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
This is the path that I was chosen to take.
Right.
Yeah.
And we never understand why, but it is what it is. So I just, you know, I'm like, no more. You can't dwell on it. Like I dwelled on it enough, and now like the process has started, and you just have to have faith that the process is going to work.
Yep. And if it doesn't, guess what? You're still going to be Jennifer.
Right. I will be.
You know, and you'll find another purpose or another space in your heart for who knows what, you know? And I
Right.
think that's what we have to be open to, is that the dream that we created as a child or as a newly married couple may not be the dream that we actually get. And we have to be okay with that too, I think.
Right.
Yeah. All right,
I
I'm gonna let
agree.
somebody else talk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we go ahead and take a picture? That's okay. And then in about 10 minutes, we'll have Elika do the meditation. So we have about 10 minutes to talk.
Hey,
Does somebody,
do a boomerang?
you want to do a boomerang? Yeah.
Can we?
Somebody do a boomerang?
I don't know.
Jenny's on it.
Yay.
We ready? Oh,
All right, let me count down.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's cute. We like literally like 5 of us like put our books up. It's like slow motion. Super cute.
yay. I wanted to follow up with that is on page 126. It says, imagine that you love yourself just the way you are. You love your body just the way it is. And you love your emotions just the way they are. You know that you are perfect just as you are. So ladies, all the flaws, there's some flaws that we think that we have. Like, you know, like my learning disability. You know, I could have used that as something that I hated about myself, but it actually pushed me to become a better person, you know, or, you know, I always get, oh my gosh, you're so emotional for my family because I'm the baby in the family. I am very emotional. I will cry all the time. And, you know, but I'm okay with that. I love showing my emotions. Like, I'm okay to show my emotions. I'm okay to, you know, confront somebody because I'm assuming something. Like, I'm okay with that. That's who I am. You know, God created us all differently. I am unique in my own way. So just make sure, you know, the flaws that we do have, find a reason to love those. You know, like maybe as a mom, you know, you have some stretch marks on your belly from having kids. You know, listen to the story that was just told. You know, enjoy those stretch marks. That's a blessing that came from your body. You created a human, you know, or like a scar that you have or something. You ladies know what I'm talking about, or even, you know, a scar in your mind that you have from the past. How can you flip it and turn it into a positive instead of, you know, a negative? Fall in love with yourself again. Okay, you're capable of doing that. You're unique. You're awesome. There's only one Tennille Nickler in this world, and here I am. You know. So, would anybody else like to share? We have about 8 minutes.
So I'm maybe just curious how, like the 4 agreements, how everyone's going to use them and remember them going forward from this book. Like, I know we all do a lot of PD and sometimes things stick and sometimes they don't. So I guess I'm just curious, like, I know I'd mentioned I'd read this before, so like I will occasionally remember the agreements of like, don't make assumptions, or, you know, and try to kind of live by those. So I would just be curious to hear how everybody else thinks they might use these going forward now that we know them.
I love that, Elika. I'll go first. What really caught my attention was assuming what other people thought about me, assuming what other people think and what their opinion is and why. I always try to figure out, like, why are they doing that, or why did they say that to me? Like, I need to stop assuming and just go off my own instinct. If I have to ask the questions, I will. But yeah, that's what I'm taking away from the book. There's so much to take away from the book, but that's one of the things that's going to stick with me.
The one that's sticking with me is giving my best. Because even though I was, I was in the hospital for the 2 weeks, and my observation was supposed to be one of the weeks that I was in the hospital, and I just asked to have it pushed back a week. Instead of giving myself time, I wanted to, do it, not look like I couldn't handle it. And then I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to give them my best. My best might not be what my best usually looks like, but it's going to be my best with what it is that I can do with being behind and trying to stay caught up and trying to do everything that I'm supposed to do. My best is my best, and that's all I can do, and I'm not going to feel bad about it.
You know what's so funny is mine is the taking it personally. Like, it's so kind of cool to be like, oh, yours is this one, yours is this one. Like, every single time a situation comes up, I'm like, okay, Jenny, but like, if you removed your personal emotion out of this, what's the real situation? Like, I take everything so personally, but it's because I put my heart and soul in anything and everything I do. So I just, like, when it's my work or it's my, like, sweat and tears, then like I take everything super personally. And I have to remember that, like, just because I do something doesn't mean other people perceive it that way. And so mine is just like, when a situation comes up, I just go, okay, if you remove your personal emotions out of this, what's the real situation? And I've had to do it like 2 or 3 times over the past like week or so. Like, I know a lot of you guys know that we've had a lot of like ups and downs in my family too, just like twists and turns. And I'm like, okay, Jen, but like, I can't take Mike breaking his leg personally. So what's the real situation? Like, I can get all emotional about it and I can be like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, wait, remove your personal emotion out of it. And what's the real situation? What really needs to happen? What's the next step? Like, what can I focus on? I've been just really removing my emotions from some stuff, because I realize, like Tennille said, I'm super emotional and I get really invested emotionally in things that don't need my emotions because they confuse this topic or the situation more. And so I'm like, I'm just really trying to almost get more business-like in some situations, where, you know, when they're like, oh, it's business, it's not personal. That's kind of something I've been saying in my head lately is like, Jen, it's business, it's not personally against you. What's the best decision to make if you remove your personal emotions about it? And so that's something that I've like really been working on since reading this book.
I feel like I'm
Jenny,
like, oh, sorry. Oh, I feel like I'm working on all 4 of them. Like I didn't realize how much drama I create in my head. Like, but now that I'm aware, you know, I'm changing it. But one thing that really spoke to me is just like love. Just choose love. But yeah, I think I put myself in suffering because I thought it was motivation, like to be so down on yourself. But now I'm like, no, I don't need to be in this suffering. Like this is part of my journey. Like right where I am is right where I'm supposed to be. So I think just, yeah, love, like I've just been choosing love in my thoughts, you know, not judging others. So I'm going the love direction. The angel of death also spoke to me, living like today, like it's your last day. I really liked that. Like, you know, when Cora's misbehaving, it's like, well, if I were to die tomorrow, how would I handle this situation? Like some things just don't matter. So I liked the angel of death that way. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with love. So putting love in my words, my actions, and loving myself too.
I was gonna kind of say that, like when Jenny was talking about like her personal, like take things personally or getting your emotion out of things, like that is my biggest strength and weakness at the same time. Like I put my emotion in everything. Like when my nephews don't want to come to the house, I'm like, what did I do? Why don't they want to come hang out with me? What did happen last time? And then I like dwell on it because I'm like, why don't they want to come hang out with me? Like, I don't understand what's going on when really they're just boys. And Aunt Jay is not nearly as cool now as I used to be. And so that was definitely something like in my emotions, like, you know, even thinking to like the infertility stuff, like, I know that it's not the end of the world and there are lots of ways to have babies. It's just, it's hard. I suffer sometimes. Like I take it personally because, you know, I feel like I've worked so hard or, you know, I've done all these things to build a life and to have a family. And so, you know, there's that, but then like my weight is probably like, and that's my biggest struggle that I'm trying very hard to like mindset to move forward because knowing that I have a hormonal imbalance, that doesn't help the cause any, but it does help me understand it a lot better. But like just knowing that, like, you know, I am working out. I work out every day. You know, I walk on the treadmill. I started running again. I'm watching, like, I'm doing things to better my life. It doesn't necessarily mean, you know, like it's good, like one, the weight's going to disappear because it's going to be harder. But like just knowing those things and not taking it personally against myself, like I'm just wasting my time or this isn't working or, you know, even like, you know, I'll be honest, like looking at pictures of like, you know, you guys and all your like here's your beginning, here's your end. Like it's hard because like I don't have those pictures because I just don't have, there's not like a progression necessarily, like due to a lot of the, you know, hormonal stuff. So I'm just trying, like, that's my goal when I walk away from here is like, don't take it personally. This is a stage you're in. It's going to be fine. Like, just have faith with the process and don't take it personally. Like, just because Jenny's over here losing 50 pounds now, you know, or flexing her muscles and I'm all like, oh, I wish I had a bicep. No, I'm kidding. But like, you know, it just is what it is. You know, we're all different paths. And that's just kind of what I took out of it was, you know, I know those things, but it's nice to be, reassured that, you know, we're all on different paths and you're at yours and she's at hers and it's just what we do. So.
I know for me, I'm kind of with Brittany in a sense that like all 4 of them, I think are things that I need to kind of be thinking about. They need to be in my mind. They need to be present. But my biggest one is to always do your best. I think that's something that I've struggled with a lot. I'm not a perfectionist, but I am when it comes to certain things, especially like my job and now my life as a wife, as a partner to somebody. I was in a relationship for about 6 years with somebody who I had built a life with. He talked about getting married. Everything was going, well, so I thought. And then he cheated. And that broke me because I had just given everything. I had done everything I thought I was supposed to do. And that took a long time for me to let go and realize that was his problem. That was not my problem. That was on him. He made the choice. I did the things that, I wanted to do. That's just who I am. I didn't do anything special. I just did what I wanted to, and he made a choice. And then 5 years down the road, I meet this amazing man who I now call my husband, who has pushed me to just be my best self and will not let me apologize when I didn't get the dishes done, because life happens. The dishes are going to be there. They will be fine. Because I'm super hard on myself when I feel like I'm not living up to what my role is. And so for me, that my best self in this moment is not going to be the same as my best self a year from now, or a year ago, a minute ago, that kind of thing. Yesterday, I felt I got my second COVID shot on Friday, and I was just really run down. My body was just tired. I'm very fortunate that I wasn't super sick like I've heard other people get from that second one, so I'm really thankful for that. But I was just dead. My body was dead. But yet I'm still trying to do things. And he's like, just sit on the couch. Just sit there. All of the things are going to be there tomorrow. Let me get it for you. What do you need? And I'm like, I can do it. But in that moment, I couldn't. So that's something that I know I'm really trying to be aware of, and letting other people do things and not necessarily having to do them for them all the time. That I can still be my best self even if I'm not doing all of the things. That's something that I'm definitely working on.
If no one else wants, does anybody else want to share with them? Again, go. Elika, we want to move into our meditation. If that sounds good, if no one else would like to share.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I love how much we talked about love today, because we're doing a heart-centered meditation, so it fits really well. Okay, so get a comfortable seat. So maybe you can lay down, maybe you can sit, whatever is comfortable for you. You can turn your camera off, you can leave it on, whatever is going to suit you best. I'm going to encourage you to close your eyes for the meditation, or at least soften your gaze down to your nose or to the ground. So just take the next 30 seconds to get comfortable. Maybe you're sitting cross-legged, maybe you have your legs extended out, maybe your knees are bent and kind of resting in and together. Settling in, slowly just beginning to connect with your breath. So calming all your thoughts, all your emotions, all your feelings, all your sensations, and just really beginning to tune into your breath. We'll be here for probably 5, 6, 7 breath cycles, just connecting with your natural breath rhythm. So not trying to manipulate it or change it, but really just feeling it, noticing where you're at, and start to bring your attention to your heart center. So that space between the girls, level with your armpits, where your heart chakra resides, where all that love energy sits, and just start to notice what you're feeling there. Maybe it's nothing, that's totally okay. Maybe it's a little extra tingly. Maybe you can really feel your heartbeat there in that center. Just connecting with your heart energy right now. Slowly bringing your right hand to your heart center, to your chest. And your left hand comes over your right, and your thumbs tips gently touch together. Sitting here with this hand gesture, this Hasta Mudra, helping to cultivate that heart energy in our center. This is helping to bring the physical in with the emotional and the spiritual. Beginning to breathe into, excuse me, breathe into your hands. Really energizing the energy, the vibrant, the frequency in your chest, in your heart center. And we're just breathing in and out here. Your breath pattern maybe has changed at this point. We're still with our natural breath rhythm though. So not trying to change anything. Maybe you're breathing a little deeper, exhaling a little more completely. Maybe your mind begins to wander occasionally, or thoughts begin to creep in. That is normal and okay. It's what our brain is supposed to do. Just allow them to flow out as quickly as they floated in. And just bring your awareness back to that heart center, that energy residing in your chest, that love. For a few more breath cycles. And I'm going to ask you to begin inviting components of the heart chakra in. So we're going to begin by inviting in compassion. So just breathing in compassion, feeling that fill your heart and chest center, breathing out compassion from your heart. Inhaling compassion for yourself, exhaling compassion for everyone, everything around you. A few more breath cycles doing this, and just whatever compassion means to you, whatever you're feeling and thinking is right. Cultivating that ultimate understanding. And next, moving on to inviting harmony. Ultimate calm in the chaos, the eye of the hurricane, the still point, the harmony that resides in love. Inhaling that in, expanding your chest, exhaling that out, giving that to the world. Next, inviting in our healing presence that love brings, the desire to heal, love in action, longing to support, inhaling that in for yourself, healing yourself, exhaling, healing presence for the world. And finally, inviting in on our inhales and exhales, unconditional love. That sense of ultimate personal acceptance. No need to change a thing about yourself. No desire to change anything about anybody else. Accepting them for as they are, as you are. Not feeling the need to fix or worry, but expressing unconditional love for yourself on your inhales and extending that out on your exhales. Calling that in, cultivating that within, and sharing that without. If it feels good for you to leave your hands at your heart center for the next step of our guided visualization, you can. If it feels better to allow your hands to drop into your lap, you can do that, whatever feels better for you. Begin visualizing someone, something, somewhere that you love, that you have that compassion, healing presence, the unconditional love, the creation of harmony. See that person, that place, that thing, whatever it is. Don't judge yourself if it's a thing. If the first thing that popped up into your mind is not yourself or your husband or your kid, like, don't judge that. Whatever came to you first is where you should be focusing your love right now, and just trust that, okay? So you're seeing that, you're experiencing that love in your body. What is that like for you? What does that feel like in your chest, in your mind, in the tips of your fingers? What is this love and emotion you're experiencing? This intense, unconditional acceptance, overwhelming joy and happiness, ultimate forgiveness. How does that feel in your body? How amazing is that to share that with somebody? A few more breath cycles here. Just cultivating that love in your heart space. And slowly beginning to replace that vision of the person, place, or thing with a vision of yourself. And beginning to turn all of that ultimate acceptance, appreciation, harmony, unconditional love onto yourself. What does that feel like for you? Is it a little uncomfortable? That's okay. Maybe this is your happy space. That's okay too. Whatever you're experiencing, putting yourself, giving yourself the love and affection that you give other people. How does that feel in your mouth? Is your mouth watering? Is your jaw clenched? Just noticing these things. Is your belly nervous? Is your breath super shallow? Just giving yourself all of this love for another breath cycle or two before we come back together. Go ahead and allow your hands to fall in your lap if they're not already. Go ahead and release this vision. Notice how that feels, just letting that energy space go. Does it feel like a relief, like something's lifted off your chest? Did you feel energy move from there? It's not weird, it's okay. I mean, if you didn't, that's okay too. And just stay here for a few breath cycles. Noticing any differences in the way you felt compared to when we started. Slowly deepening your inhales and exhales and beginning to open your eyes if they're not already. We've got like a couple minutes, so I would love it if people just would take 90 seconds to jot down any thoughts that they had, any differences they noticed from when they started to when we were done. Maybe it was that your mind was so distracted and you couldn't focus it all the whole time. Like, that's fine. Notice that, write that down. Maybe this is the first time some of you have ever done a meditation or like a live meditation that's not a pre-recorded one. Maybe this is your 800th experience with me as a meditation coach. So just whatever you're feeling, take a few moments to just notice it, appreciate it. that was really nice for me. I got choked up a couple times. I almost cried. So thank you guys for sharing that with me.
I actually cried like a couple times during this last hour too. I mean, through the whole thing with some of the stuff you guys were sharing. And yeah, with that meditation, I wrote down that the difference in my breathing I noticed like was like so much like more spread out and like just calmer. I had like a sense of calming after that meditation. So thank you, Elika.
You're welcome.
When you said to put your hands on your heart center, like I just started crying too. It was really weird, but I felt like I just had to get it out. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And Elika, I also noticed when you said that, take all of that love that you have for that person, that thing, that place, and, give it to yourself. And my first thought was, wow, that's a lot of love. That was my first thought was, that's a lot of love. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. It's a little overwhelming to turn it on to yourself, you know? Yeah.
Okay, I have to say, and I don't know if this makes me weird. I had like a color change cycle. So when we first,
Those were your chakras.
I know, it's so crazy. So like when we first started, I didn't have my hands on my chest, but I could feel when you said just concentrate on that where it's at. So I had like this pinkish white, I felt like I was going through a tie-dye cycle. It was so crazy, but it was like a pinkish and white, but I could feel like a ball, like an energy ball. I just felt it. I could feel it. And then like as we went through it more, it was like a pink, and then and I just wrote them all down. And then it was almost like a black, because I think it was like the compassion, like putting the compassion out, and like, and then it was bringing it back in. It was like a blue and a teal. And by the time we were done, it was like purple. And then when I lifted my hands, it was like this huge open space. Like you opened my heart chakra, Elika. That's
so
like,
good.
oh my God, I feel like I'm tripping on LSD right now. What is going on? Not that I've ever been on LSD, but I'm just, the whole, like, I'm seeing colors. I feel the colors. Like I'm like, is anybody else going through this? Are they feeling colors? But that was totally my whole experience. Like I could just feel it, like physically feel the ball. And then I went through this whole color cycle. And then it was just like, it's completely like just openness now. It's so weird. It's so weird. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. That makes me so effing happy to hear that. That's so cool. So that like pink, so green and pink are affiliated with the heart chakra. So it totally makes sense that, and then blue and teal typically would be like the throat chakra, and then purple is usually like the third eye, and iridescent is often like the crown, seventh chakra. So you definitely had like
it was the whole color wheel. It was like pink, and then it was like dark, and then it went to like a blue, and then like a teal, and then we're like back to purple, and then there's like this light, and I'm like, whoa, tripping on a Sunday morning.
No drugs required, just your energy. Like, how awesome is that?
Ladies, what an amazing book, Sit and Sip. I want to thank you ladies for showing up, for working on yourself, for opening up your heart to change, and just being here and being present. I'm looking forward to our next Sit and Sip, our next book. If you have any recommendations, please share. And we can go from there. And once we get a book, we'll announce it and we'll get it ordered, and then we'll start in April. Okay. Thank you, Elika, so much for doing this. I knew that we needed to finish this book with a good finish, and you were the perfect match. So thank you for allowing us to not only love others, but to remember to love ourselves just as much. So thank you, ladies. And I hope you have a great Sunday and be thankful. Okay. Be thankful. All right. Love you, girls. Bye.